hate from Mephisto, and this combination executed perfectly at the end of the game.
From Alarak, make it a quad kill set up by that EG.
Wow, did you see that mosh pit? 4-man mosh pit while on a conveyor belt. That was like a regular sushi line.
Nubarak, core at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be Respect the Gooses. Oh my goodness.
Ring. Oh my goodness, the ring. Jaina just pulling up everybody here. That's a 4, make it 5
And it
for
does
nothing.
knock them all up. What a play. Oh my God, somebody please clip that.
Oh no, it didn't work. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. And I just realized what went wrong. Give me 1 second. I have to fix one thing. Sorry, and we're not doing Nexus Gaming Series. Oh man, I got so distracted by that camera issue. Give me 1 sec. Gonna do a quick video, and I'll be right back. Oh, that. Okay, there we go. That fixed it. I was gonna say I didn't expect to have that problem continue. Anyways, as I was saying, welcome. This is the Zul'jin Distillery Invitational, an event that is brought to you in the off season of the Nexus Gaming Series with a variety of teams that are invited by DeWitt. And this is the finals. This is the last match of the season. It's going to be a best of 5. I'm Arrow. If in case you didn't know that, in case you didn't see that all over your screen, and I'm going to be giving you the play-by-play action tonight between ReGen, Nebula, and I Must Feed. And these are both groups of players that I'm very well familiar with. I've seen I Must Feed for several seasons. I've known much of ReGen for, I don't know, several years. So it's going to be a lot of fun to cast. And we're going to get some interesting maps, hopefully. Hopefully. Oh, it looks like they DM'd me on Discord with the map bans, so I will put those up as we check out these maps, because this is what... into the position that they are now. We'll actually start with the overall points. Let's take a look at that real quick. That's not what I want. Practice. So this is where we've got number 2 and number 4 for the season. ReGen Nebula there tying Zul'jin Distillery for first place, so the tiebreaker went to XGD. But as mentioned, that bracket, this is where we went. So that is not, yeah, it is. Okay. So we've got I Must Feed. They defeated Probius 2-0 in their first round, and then they defeated the Zul'jin Distillery, the home team, if you will, 2-0 in that upper bracket to make their way to the finals here. ReGen Nebula, the second seed down there at the bottom half, they defeated their companions, their fellow teammates, if you will, of the ReGen organization, ReGen Rebel, 2-0 in the first set. And you can see all of those first round games were 2-0, best out of 3. They then defeated the Nexus Cats 2-0 and find themselves here tonight. Technically, I think they should be on the upper half of that, but, you know, whatever. We are ready to go, so let's get into this draft. All right. Let's add the game sound. I don't know what happened there, but it looks like the sound went away for that. But anyways, if the background or if the microphone or anything like that, if the sound levels seem a little bit odd, please let me know, as I do want to make sure that you guys can hear me and also can hear the game action, of course. I may have to adjust the game sound a little bit because sometimes certain heroes can be a little bit loud. But Volskaya Foundry, as I mentioned, first map of the evening. This is a best of 5 set, and it's the first, I believe, the first best of 5 that these teams have played this season, as each of the prior matches would have been best of 3. As we get our first pick coming up here for ReGen Nebula, we've got Rhaegar and Tassadar being banned out by Nebula, Stukov and Johanna on the side of I Must Feed. A couple of strong support heroes, the healers there being taken off. No Bloodlust or Ancestral from that Rhaegar, and the mobility that it provides for his team, but also just the really significant amount of AoE healing he can do as well. Totems providing slows. And then you've got Stukov, and Stukov's just a monster. He's got the AoE silences, which really can provide zone control, especially on a map like Volskaya Foundry, where you are standing on a point for a good long time. But our first heroes are going to be Junkrat, a phenomenal hero for Volskaya Foundry, able to provide a lot of zone control with his concussion mines and traps on these control points, and Chromie and Anduin as well. So Chromie can do kind of the same thing to a certain degree, but it's really tough to dodge all of the damage she's going to throw at you if you are in a confined space. Anduin, kind of the counter to that Junkrat, able to help keep the team alive and pull somebody out to safety in the event that something goes poorly. We're going to get the solo lane and tank out from ReGen Nebula, so they're going to leave their other damage and their healer until the second half of the draft, as we get a Nubrak and Blaze. Some pretty tanky tanks there. Nubrak able to really reduce the amount of damage that Chromie can do to himself, but also through the use of beetles, intercepting that Sandblast and making it a little bit harder for Chromie to do that damage that she's going to want to do. Genji and Brightwing going to be taken out, and you know, seeing the Brightwing ban, that tells me one of two things. Either well, I guess one of three. Either there's a, you know, somebody on the team that really wants to play Brightwing on the side of ReGen Nebula, or that they want to take a hero that wants to get in up close, like a Genji, like a Mal'Ganis is another who really doesn't enjoy having the Brightwing coming in. So it's going to be Garrosh and Malthael, the tank and solo laner there. So expect to see a bunker to protect from Malthael's last rites. And I should probably get this stuff set up so that we can have our player portraits. Thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate you stopping by to watch the match. If you're a Heroes of the Storm player, hopefully you'll get to see some exciting action tonight as we get a couple of healers slash support characters, although Uther kind of filling a niche role in that regard. A little bit less healing, but instead provides the armor, helping his teammates to survive longer in those fights. Also has some pretty significant stun lockdown, so works in a similar way to that Brightwing, basically saying, hey, if you want to come into us, you're going to have to commit hard, and it's going to hurt. And Leoric going to be the final one for I Must Feed. And, you know, if you're going to have an I Must Feed comp, really there are two heroes that you have to consider. I already mentioned the Mal'Ganis, of course. He's the one that goes around the map telling everybody that he must feed. But, of course, Leoric, the king of feed. Well, maybe right behind Murky, but we don't see a lot of Murky. But there you go. A lot of percent potential coming out from Leoric and Malthael on the side of I Must Feed. And then the control, a lot of CC, the zone control with stuns from Blaze, Uther, Junkrat's got the roots, Malfurion has roots, stuns from Anubarak, as well as the concussion mine. This is going to be a really scary team for I Must Feed to go into. That is a lot of just stand here and wait that Nebula is going to be putting on the table. So we'll see how this turns out. I don't have predictions on, do I? Can I do that? Hopefully this doesn't blow everything up. Okay, let's see if I can get that prediction up. Prediction. Who wins game number 1? Then I'll introduce the team. All right, you've got 2 minutes on that. Who do you think is going to win? You can use your channel points to vote one way or the other on that. And let's get our teams introduced. On the left, we've got ReGen Nebula. It's going to be IT Cowboy there on the Blaze. Stixa on Junkrat. Murda going to be playing the Anubarak. The Shives on that Uther, and Karama on the Malfurion. And over here to the right, we've got I Must Feed. It's going to be Leoric, played by Kingle. We got Fluffy Waffle. A lot of Fluffy Waffle fans out there in the chat tonight. Going to be playing the Garrosh. North on the Malthael. Gonna have Sudden Bears on Anduin. And McLoser, I'm gonna love that name tonight, on the Chromie. So there you go. Those are your teams. That's what we've got working tonight. It looks like Leoric's gonna be playing our solo against the Blaze here to start with, at least. And instead making use of Malthael as a damage dealer. And you know, one of the value benefits that Malthael has into this team is that because he does percent damage, just like Leoric here, that bypasses what Uther's going to bring to the table from the healing side of things. He's not going to get as much value out of that armor, nor will Anubarak, because he gets that big spell armor, but that's not going to help him for those. Shive's going to get thrown over by the Garrosh. Uther trying to get away. A little bit of a miss there on the burrow coming in from Murda, but ultimately Uther able to walk away. And of course, every time Uther heals, he also heals himself, whether he's doing a Holy Shock on somebody or he is doing that Holy Radiance. He gives himself that little bit of armor. It's not as much as his friends, but it's there. Indeed, Brian. Non-Phasmo content tonight. We are casting. This is the finals of the Zul'jin Distillery Invitational. Quick pickup there by I Must Feed on that heal emitter. That biotic emitter is a 40% healing and mana regeneration over 8 seconds, I think. Pretty significant value, especially early in this game. Could give I Must Feed the potential to pick up that first control point early and giving them a lot of control. Malthael gonna hold on to this control point, or this camp right here, for a moment, waiting for that 2 minute 30 seconds when we see the objective coming up. Hey Ilaria, welcome. Good to see everybody here. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. As mentioned, 2:30 right now. Control point coming up. The objective here, both teams going to be looking to get on there and channel that. Uther's going to get thrown. Now, Garrosh and Leoric don't do a whole lot of burst potential, so Uther able to walk out of that. But Uther doesn't have a whole lot of mana right now either, so expect to see Uther heading back to either hit that healing well, get some mana back, or Hearth, and it looks like that's what he's going to do. Malthael left over here just chilling, just waiting for that timer to send out the mercenary camp, meet up, and try to get a little pressure in the lane while Murda getting started on the channel is going to get paused by I Must Feed. And this is the zone control I was talking about. So we've got the trap here by Junkrat. We've got Chromie's time trap. Now those are invisible, so other team can't see that. Junkrat has a concussion mine as well right next to that time trap. So a lot of ways that they can stop that. A great unstoppable there by the Garrosh to prevent the stun coming from a Nubrak. The Leap of Faith also used there by Ando to pull Garrosh out of danger just to be sure. And right now, top lane in favor of our red team, I Must Feed. In addition, they also have level 7, so they have an additional talent over ReGen Nebula for a little bit. And using that talent, they're going to come in. Big stun out of Garrosh, hitting 3, just getting stacks on his level 1 quest here. Get that Warbreaker, additional stuns, additional damage, cooldown reduction, all kinds of value of that. Nebula going to get close to the completion of this now. Overtime could be coming soon. Jet Propulsion coming in, but it's going to get Cowboy thrown into the backline. Sudden Bears with the Chastise root is going to help lock down Blaze and get them the first kill of the game. Shives could be falling here, and it is going to happen. Chromie with that Dragon's Breath, just chunking down Uther and the ticking damage from Malthael, getting that percent damage. It's only 1 3/4% of their health per second, but that's all it took to finish the job. Level 7's now here for ReGen Nebula. 99% on the channel. You can see there on the right side of your screen as I Must Feed working on that channel and picking themselves up a couple of turrets. So that's going to give them a significant item advantage. They have 2 turrets right here. They've got the Biotic Emitter. Kingle also has a turret. So this is going to be really difficult for Nebula to be able to pick up. The only real question is how many items does I Must Feed use to secure this? Unless, of course, they're able to find a quick pick on the side of ReGen Nebula. Well, Blaze is going to Jet Propulsion in, gets a stun, but gets taken out. Leoric and Chromie doing heavy work there. And take a look at this field. There you go. Biotic Emitter is gone. 3 turrets down. So all of the equipment used. They said, you know what? We definitely want to get this control point. We want this protector. Let's make it happen. And they get 2 kills out of it. So big value plays for them there. Probably a little bit more than they needed, but it gave them the victories, and now they're going to be able to get structure damage. So these towers are going to go down. Garrosh going to get booped over the wall there by Junkrat, but no real way for Nebula to capitalize on that. Do you think Mouth Ale is inferring there's another place for Ale to go? Mal, M-A-L? T-H-A-E-L, Malthael, but I get it. All right, and the Protector quite adept at doing damage to the structures. As you see, that full wall is gone, as well as half of that first fort. And with the level 10 advantage now, level 10s are heroic talents. That gives a huge boost to the team that has him there. Murda getting out of there just in the nick of time there. That AoE taunt from Fluffy could have spelled disaster for the giant beetle there. But using the burrow charge to get out was clutch. Gave him an unstoppable period and meant that taunt didn't cause any problems. Gonna get a stun there just to slow things down and ultimately stop that engage from I Must Feed. But having Blaze in the bottom lane, I mean, they probably could have taken that. They had the advantage, and they had most of their ultimates up, but it is a little risky. Trying to invade on the opponent's side so heavily into their own territory gets a little bit challenging. Now, Murda diving in, cannot get out of that. Has to use the Divine Shield. They get the cocoon out onto Garrosh, but Garrosh is going to be coming out very soon from that. But they are going to pull back here as Leap of Faith used to pull Garrosh out of danger. Light Bomb is going to go in on Malthael, but he's going to get knocked away by Junkrat's Riptire. And no deaths from either team. Pretty significant usage of the ultimates. You can see there at the top of your screen, all 5 ultimates used by ReGen Nebula. Most of the ultimates used by I Must Feed. Leoric, the only one who did not use it there, but provided them enough to be able to get out of danger there. It looked like it could have been a pretty tough time there for a moment for Nebula as Murda got a little close there, but that Divine Shield really coming in clutch to keep the Anubarak alive. Both teams picking up their turrets, so those will be available here. 1 and 1. Of course, the biotic emitter's still out, and of course, and Chromie's got those time traps as well. So you know the value for Chromie, like something like this, gives vision, so she can see that Anubarak's there, and they know that they're very split here. Anubarak's going to burrow in, does get a stun out onto Chromie, but Shive's going to get pulled in. Has Divine Shield in 8 seconds, so isn't available just yet. Cocoon going out onto Garrosh is going to be enough to keep Shives alive, and now they've got that Divine Shield coming back, so we'll see if there's any potential for follow-up on this, but it's not looking like that's the case. Blaze down below, of course, trying to get the XP caught up to get Nebula on the same level. These 13 and 16 talents, 13 usually aren't super game-breaking, but they do provide generally your more support talents, your armors and things like that, cooldown reductions, so they're not major game breaking. 16 of course is the one, but any advantage you can get over your opponent is obviously of value. Been watching CCL lately, haven't seen March of the Black King in ages. It's not a super common pick. It is you know, they likely took March of the Black King because of the fact that we're going to see life drain, but here we've got Divine Shield used, is going to dodge the light bomb there onto Malthael. We're going to go back, check up here up top as Murda is trying to get away from Garrosh. The AoE taunt out there, unstoppable used, but it's not going to be enough as Malfurion's going to fall. So one hero down on the side of ReGen Nebula, 2 levels down. They're on the same talent, so at least they've got that in their, I don't know, I can't really say in their favor. It makes them equal, but again, another equipment for the side of I Must Feed. Big stun coming out onto the Leoric, but Cocoon used likely just to keep Murda alive there. These slowing sands from Chromie providing so much zone defense, but when used offensively makes it very difficult for any of these heroes to get out. Being slowed 50-70% eventually, potentially, if you take the upgrade, is no joke. You cannot get away from the Garrosh who's going to walk up and throw you. You can't get away from Leoric who's going to life drain you. And let's take a look at Leoric's talents, because I think that's the direction. It is in fact the direction we're going to see Leoric going with all of these life drain talents. And at level 20, March of the Black King upgrades into a terrifying amount of damage as you're able to put those life drains out on everybody within a certain radius. And that radius went up at level 7 with the additional range. Cleanse used on Stixa to get him out of there. Murda in that slowing sands, and you see how slow the Beetle's going there. Oh, the Divine Shield just in time to make sure that Last Rites does not secure that kill. That was a great Divine Shield. Bunker also used to try to help with that. Karama gonna have to get out of there. And no deaths on the side of Nebula. Well, not yet. They get the stun out on the Blaze. Murda's gonna dive in for that stun attempt and provide a little bit of protection there. Gonna get the structure shut down there by the power glove coming from the protector. And it looks like maybe mid lane not quite gonna go down. They're gonna get the stun out onto Leoric. He can just walk away. He's going to get a time trap value though. And that time trap, thanks to Chromie's, that's not what I wanted. Chromie's level 2 talent, providing armor to her allies, providing negative armor to her enemies. Right there, time troubles. Leoric providing vision for the team, gonna get the Beetle thrown in. He's gonna go ahead and burrow right out, not having to go through the slowing sands. And this is the slowing sands, and you see we've got that oil slick, does similar. It can slow down the enemy team, but it doesn't last as long as the slowing sands. Slowing sands can essentially be permanent as long as you have enough mana to feed into it. So I mentioned earlier those level 16 talents, and we already have them here for I Must Feed, and these are oftentimes not quite as game breaking as the heroic talents like those that we've seen a lot of. Malthael in a lot of danger, is going to get booped away. Unstoppable used. Riptire coming out. It's not going to be enough. It's actually going to get taken out before the explosion, and Leap of Faith saving the day. North had to be puckered up right there. That was as close as you can possibly get without getting that kill under that fort. Now, Nebula might be considering this healing emitter for the first time, but it's going to cost them. Ultimately, I Must Feed says, we're going to give you that, but we're going to take permanent value. We're going to reduce the amount of structures you have available here for your defense, make it easier for us when the next control point comes up. This is control point C. Make it easier for us to defend that. Because once this goes down, their healing well is gone. That's a long trip now to try to make to heal up a bit. Cocoon out onto Chromie. Life Drain went out, but it didn't hit there from the Leoric. He is going to March of the Black King through the Warlord's Challenge. Garrosh is going to get pretty low, but he's going to make that through. North also low, is going to get the last rights out onto a Nubrak, and this time he finishes the job. Leoric, though, in the backline is going to take out the Blaze. They are not stopping. They're going to get a throw in onto North, finishing that kill. Another one. It's 4 for none, and Shives was already dead. He was the Uther. Kingle was looking for Stixa, but Junkrat able to sneak away here. 4 for nothing in favor of I Must Feed as they are making their way toward 20. 1 level away there. They're going to be able to stall out the damage. Well, no, they're going to go for mid. They don't care about that top 4. Bears, nice save. Anduin has been on point with the Leap of Faiths, and the light bombs have been absolutely clutch in making sure that the I Must Feed team is kept safe and hearty. Puckered up. I did say puckered up. Absolutely. All right. Nebula probably looking to come be aggressive. Maybe they're so close though to 20. They get it in the middle of a fight. This is a tough call right now. Do you let your opponents have this protector and level 20, or do you here's the engage. They want to take this fight because they know that they have somebody on the point, but not for long. There's Cocoon out onto Malthael. Malfurion going to use the Twilight Dream. They get the silence, and this time the Anduin is taken out. Shives is going to maybe drop, does not actually drop, and they get the kill on a Malthael. Blaze going to fall. Uther, Leoric, all going to fall. Fluffy Waffle is taking damage from the turrets. Somehow makes it out, and you see Murda on the hunt. Was looking to see if maybe he could finish that kill, but not quite. And the Nubrak gonna burrow out of there. Says, I don't really want to deal with this Chromie. Fluffy Waffle thrown in the minion, trying to get the stun onto the Nubrak, but not able to do so. With Malthael level 20, he's already back. He did die in that combat, but right there, no one can stop death. And he says, I'm back. We can take a fight 3 versus 2 when you have no healer and we have percent damage that will kill you. So level 20's here. Almost a full level to go for ReGen Nebula. Let's take a look at some of these things that I Must Feed has in their toolkit. Anduin, able to stun when he hits with that root, that chastised circle that goes out. It's also I don't know what his stacks are, but it pierces now. So normally it only hits 1, but now it can hit 2 heroes. Garrosh, able to throw 2 heroes, and they get stunned. So watch for that. Slowing Sands upgraded by Chromie. This is absolutely disgusting. It's going to be spell armor reduction up to 50. So if they stay in that, if Nebula stays in that, it can be huge. A Nubrak going to get absolutely obliterated. The Warlord's Challenge, the throw, and the last rites. And this could be the beginning of the end of this game. But it's not going to be because Blaze actually makes it out, so never mind. Gonna get that knockback out onto Kingle. Leoric getting booped in the team, but if you're gonna have anybody booped into the enemy fort, Leoric's not a bad one to have. Gonna get the double toss. As I mentioned, Malfurion's going to throw out that Twilight Dream for the silence, but it's not going to prevent Uther from falling there. And we're gonna see the first keep of the game going down, and the question is, how much more do they go for? Are they able to secure this victory here, as they really only have Junkrat on the defense? And with the protector, it's not a ton, but it's there. Blaze gonna get, holy crap, destroyed. The throw, the challenge into the slowing sands, and I mentioned that spell armor reduction. it doesn't take long for that to stack up. 50% additional damage. And ReGen Nebula doing what they can, but another Warlord's Challenge. That ability has such a short cooldown. And that's going to be it for game number 1. I Must Feed coming out looking strong in this first game. Welcome back. So it looks like ReGen's going to take first pick. And oh, there you go. And we already know where we're going. So our next map is going to be Battlefield of Eternity. So we did see a lot of the 2-lane maps banned out. Praxis, Hanamura were banned out. The only ones left, I believe, are Haunted Mines and Battlefield of Eternity, which is where we're going right now. So this is a very different map. The objective is not a control point. It's a giant immortal, and you want to kill your opponent's immortal quickly. Let's manage that the outcome. All right, I Must Feed. Oh, all of the channel points in favor of ReGen Nebula, and I Must Feed won the game, so sucking those channel points back feels bad. Let's take a look at our maps here just real quick again. Oop, not there. There we go. Apparently I didn't have the map audio on earlier. There may be other places. I'll double check for that each time. It is a photo from Gardening. I had to put something in there, and I was like, you know what? Let's throw this in. Absolutely, that photo, a drawing by none other than the wonderfully famous and talented musician Zoe Wren. Hey, 50, welcome. It's good to see you all here. Thanks for being here tonight. I appreciate it. But we're going to go to Battlefield of Eternity, and as mentioned, this is a different style of map. Oh, no, I'm ready. And first of all, there are 2 lanes instead of 3. Full Sky is a very large map. Battlefield's not. It's a much smaller map, so a lot of fights are going to be taking place over these immortals as the players are trying to push against the enemy team's immortal. And the immortals provide a lot of zone defense themselves. They give stuns, knockbacks, and a lot of damage if you get hit by them. Teams are ready to go, though, so let's get right into it. Game number 2. I Must Feed up 1-0. That's not the right one. There we go. I Must Feed up 1-0 in this best of 5 series. ReGen opting to choose first pick once again, as they did in the last round. And again, this is the number 2 versus the number 4 team. If I was better prepared, I would have gone and looked at how they performed in the regular season to see what their match was like. Brock and Brian, the B Bros. That fair enough. That is true. Yeah. So Yoda, I'm really hoping we're not going to see it, but I'm really hoping that we'll see a Haunted Mines game. It's not a fantastic map by any means. Blizzard acknowledged that. Players have acknowledged that for years, but it's nostalgia. You know, you get the opportunity to talk about things you never really get to talk about and all that stuff. So yeah. I didn't keep track of Tassadar was the other band there. Stukov and Johanna, and then Brightwing and Genji. That was first game. Second game, very similar, except we're going to see a Diablo ban. And the first hero we're going to get is the Greymane. Anduin's going to make his way back into the mix here, and I'm kind of surprised that maybe Anduin wasn't a consideration to take off the map, just because of the fact that he was so critical to the victory on the side of I Must Feed. But we may see something different coming out from Nebula. They may not necessarily care as much about having the pull away, which was pretty critical in favor there of I Must Feed. So we're going to get a Varian Li Ming Greymane. This is a combo that dates back to very, very early days of Heroes of the Storm. You see Varian, he will charge in, taunt, and you'll have Li Ming pretty much by herself blow you up, but also Greymane coming in with that. Wow. I can't remember the name of it. Well, anyways, his ultimate. And then get a reset. And then they can use all their abilities again. So expect to see some death in that. At that point, you know, if they're able to get a taunt, they can do that taunt every 14 seconds, I think. That's a lot more often than the 90-second cooldown for Anduin, who can Leap of Faith. Garrosh gonna get taken out as the third ban, as well as the Brightwing. So Brightwing not gonna make it on the map today. Okay, so we're gonna get Lunara and Muradin. So we're seeing a little bit more CC chain potential out of I Must Feed here with the Muradin stun, and of course the jet propulsion with the Blaze. Lunara going to be probably their primary race hero, whereas so far for Nebula they have a couple of race options. Li Ming does a pretty decent amount, as well as Greymane, I believe, as far as I'm aware, is the highest race in the game. And it's going to be ETC and Uther, so maybe we see more of a bruiser out of the variants. Maybe we don't get that taunt here. Uther going to be the primary healer, and he's going to be their way for dealing with any potential quick blow-ups. Although, again, not really seeing that with the Lunara. Sylvanas, though, can provide some of that. Quick burst on that, and a lot of CC potential. Sylvanas now able to use mind control as well, kind of like the taunt, except in some ways a little bit worse. And if the I Must Feed team is able to pick up an Immortal, she can shut down towers, and that's going to be really tough for Nebula to deal with. All right, we will get a prediction up in a moment as soon as I put these heroes in. Cowboy is ETC. Varian. And Raymade. Okay, so that's correct. So it's like a second draft win in a row for IMF. It could very well be. Wins up game number 2. Or for 2 minutes. Start that prediction. So prediction is up in chat if you want to gamble away some combo points, channel points, whatever they are. In sound and mic. Okay, good. Just had to make sure that was correct on this one. All right, let's get our teams introduced. On the left, it's going to be ReGen Nebula. We've got the Shives on Greymane. We got Stixa on the Li Ming. Murda's going to be on that variant. Karama on the Uther. And ETC going to be played by IT Cowboy. Off to the right, it's going to be I Must Feed. Currently up 1-0 in this best of 5. We got North on the Sylvanas. Sudden Bear's going to be on the Anduin again. McLoser on the Lunara. Fluffy Waffle on the Murden. And Blaze going to be played by Kingle. And, you know, I just have to say, that was a pretty good play, both by Nebula and by Blaze there. They end up losing a little bit of tower damage because of it. So the idea that I was going to get at there was having this group of people up top to kind of maybe try to kill this Blaze was good. But then Blaze said, hey, I need to check that space and make sure that there aren't people there because we don't know where they're at. Nice stun from IT Cowboy with the knockback to make sure that Murden could not use Dwarf Toss and get out of danger. Quick kill early in this game. There aren't even camps up to go capitalize, so Murden will be back very soon. And early game kills are not worth a ton of XP, so really the main value that Nebula gets out of this is flexing points. I mean, that's exactly what it is, right? They get to say, we got the first kill and set the tone for the rest of the game. A lot of pings calling out saying, hey, they're probably on this camp, missing the stun onto Murden this time, but looking to try to interrupt the Dwarf Toss. But it's Cowboy this time who's going to fall, and Fluffy Waffle using that Dwarf Toss to just jump in on the cow. Since he was already dead, he was looking for the position, was going to try to get that stun and make sure that he didn't get out, but ultimately Cowboy falling on his way there. So a little bit of beef on the menu for I Must Feed. Poke comp into Uther, as long as they don't int looks good, immediately dies. So Siege Camp picked up there for I Must Feed. We'll show these talents again, early game talents, to give a little bit of an idea of what to expect. Stun out onto the ETC from Murden, and Murden, of course, going into that block talent. So Leap of Faith is used there, and that always, that's one of the things that can be a little frustrating about Heroes of the Storm is when you cast an ability, in this case, that was Murden's Dwarf Toss, and somebody kind of interrupts your cast, it takes priority, so the Leap of Faith in this case, but your cast still happens. You're like, I didn't need to use that ability. You took it from me. Both teams working on the Shaman camp, sending that out around the time that the Immortals spawn on the map here. Murda, rather, going to be going into Taunt. So they are going to have that full CC chain between Taunt and ETC's stun combo. And as mentioned earlier, Anduin can only save one until he gets later in this game. Gonna get the taunt onto Blaze. Jet Propulsion's gonna get a big stun here. Styx is gonna look over that wall, gets a lot of damage from the Li Ming. ETC's coming in from the side, and really this is just an opportunity now for I Must Feed to get damage onto this Immortal. But they don't have a lot of it right at the beginning there. Lunara doesn't have the additional damage, I don't think, or is that 4 now? That is a 4. Okay, so she does have it, but it's overtime, so it takes a bit of time for her to do that. Sylvanas wasn't quite here, and they still do get the halftime in their favor. Nebula's going to have a lot to make up if they want to continue with that, and it looks like they might. Greymane's hanging out back here, along with Li Ming. Varian just going in along with ETC to try to slow down as much as they can the push from I Must Feed. There's the taunt going out onto Sylvanas, and of course Sylvanas and Lunara are the ones you want to stall out from doing damage. A big Immortal stun onto the Sylvanas, and it is going to be Nebula with 106 health left on their Immortal. They are going to pay for it with the life of ETC, but ultimately that is a big win for them, and they get the return kill onto Sylvanas. So 1 for 1, and the Immortal in favor here of ReGen Nebula. That's a great start for them on this game. Losing this Immortal would have been challenging. Sylvanas able to shut down the structures makes it so the defense is a little bit softer. And once again, the Immortal getting some damage and knockback there in onto the Murden this time. Got to be a little bit careful. The AoE, point blank AoE knocking away, and it does pretty decent damage. Those little circles around him, though, those are the real killers. They do a whole lot of damage, and they stun you for pretty much the rest of your life, because if you get stunned by them and there are enemies anywhere nearby, you're probably going to die. But with Varian having to go back to base, I Must Feed taking advantage of this and gonna pick up a siege camp. So that's siege camps in their favor so far for this map. Bottom lane they had we see Cowboy coming down here, I guess checking to see if Blaze was down there maybe. And right now Murda looking for a target, sees the Sylvanas, but Sylvanas has that unstoppable as well. Murden's going to jump out, still has the taunt, but they're not really in a good position to use it, so they're just going to clear up the siege camp, as Lunara had to go back. I think she was out of mana. Siege camp just about done there, falling a little low, and Lunara also has that wisp, so McLoser doing a good job of making use of their traps last game, the wisp this game for the vision, and making sure that they always know where Nebula is on the map. Let's take a look at that level 1 talent for Lunara 2. What is she getting? So she is getting Sentinel Wisps. So when those wisps hang out in the stealthy areas like this, where Nebula is hanging out waiting, they don't quite get, like, that was just the old standoff. Let's look at each other and see what happens. ETC's gonna get a power slide stun onto Fluffy Waffle, but they're not able to finish anything out of it. And ultimately Uther there, one who has to go back and tap, get that healing. Let's zoom out so we can see all of this action. Stun going out onto the Varian, however, stun out onto the Murden, gonna get the taunt onto the Lunara, but now pulling back. Cleanse used onto ETC to keep him alive, and Varian in a little bit of danger potentially, but a big orb coming from the Li Ming is going to help them secure the kill onto Murden, and that gives Nebula a huge advantage, especially if they get the kill onto Sylvanas. Holy smokes, now they've got to make up the Immortal though. Just like last round, they get these kills, they've got to make up the time for it offensively by pushing in onto the Immortal. We see Varian taking his time, going back and getting health and mana so that they can continue in this fight. And it's level 10's first here for ReGen, thanks to their kill count, 5-2. Level 10's now available though for I Must Feed. Blaze not here, Sylvanas not here, so really this should be a quick burn. Nice light bomb is gonna stun the Varian, and Divine Shield gonna come out to keep him alive. This could be dangerous here. Oh, I was gonna say because of a mosh pit, but they don't actually have mosh. There's the silence arrow coming from Sylvanas. Varian in a lot of danger. The bunker coming out, as Graymane's actually the one to fall down below, and there goes Varian as well. But they do get the Immortal. So again, they're not gonna get much out of this, because ultimately between Lunara and Sylvanas, they'll be able to clean this up pretty quickly. But it's not coming against them, and that is an important factor. I Must Feed a little bit on the back foot this game. They've had some kills at inopportune times, or I suppose deaths, and they haven't really been able to make use of that Sylvanas value for pushing with the Immortal. They haven't had it. But level 10s, I mean, it changes the landscape. There's that amazing voice I'm listening to right there. Blaze gonna get out of danger there using the jet propulsion, but this is gonna be a quick trade. Sylvanas able to shut down the tower means that there's no defense. This is gone. ReGen not really in the same position to be able to push in on this. They went for that. They fully committed to getting this siege camp, and they're not going to get much out of it. The siege camp's going to give them a little bit of experience, and that's just about it. And it's not even going to be a net positive, because they're going to lose the shaman camp. That shaman camp's going to go in that bottom lane, and they're going to have to go clean that up as well. Blaze eventually will be able, it takes him a little bit, but he'll be able to clear that eventually. So all pretty well even with those 2 kills after the fact, after the Immortal. 5-4 evening out the kills. A little bit of an XP advantage in favor of I Must Feed, and their ETC coming in with a stage dive. And I expect we'll see more consistently ETC in the off lane now that he can get anywhere on the map quickly like that. Zoom out here as Blaze, not going to get a ton of value on this, but able to push the lane up into the fort and provide offensive pressure. A lot of blue health bars over here. ReGen Nebula saying, we'll take your camp after you took ours, but this is a dangerous place to fight for them. Sylvanas is going to get, well, Light Bomb's going to go in on Murda, and Divine Shield's going to help keep Greymane going forever there. Murda in danger. Kurama, though, is going to be the one to fall into that Lunara as Murda falls, and that's going to be 3 kills in favor of I Must Feed, and this is the worst time for that to happen for ReGen. IT Cowboy is going to be able to make it out from the Sylvanas there, trying to keep up, and Stixa as well. And this is about the best thing that Nebula's got going for him on this one. I Must Feed going to be able to just shred through the Immortal unopposed. And they've got the Shaman camp going up in the top lane. So this is not likely to be a real significant challenge for I Must Feed to be able to continue on the Immortal. The positive for them, though, or for Nebula, is that at least their Immortal's on the defensive side. So it makes it a little bit harder for I Must Feed. But there's a big cursed bullet. Kingle going to pop the Unstoppable to get out of there. ETC is going to come in with that stage dive, but the Light Bomb, once again, high value. Kurama's going to fall as Greymane fell there earlier, just missing on the jet propulsion, so Varian's going to be able to survive for a moment, but Li Ming taken out in the back. They do get the kill onto the Blaze, but out of the 5 heroes, Blaze is probably the least impactful one for what's about to happen. This Immortal is going to go, actually don't know where it's going to go. Both of these are still up, so it could go either way. It's going to go top lane, so that's actually better, I think, for Nebula, because they're already going to be here defending, so I Must Feed doesn't get a whole lot of value out of that camp. But as you can see, these towers getting shut down by, she goes over the wall. The balls of Sylvanas to just go over that wall when you've got a Varian, you've got an ETC who could stop you from getting back, but they missed that opportunity. Went over, got back to the other side, and holy cow. North is just going in and saying, what are you gonna do? Muradin coming in with the Light Bomb, use the Avatar, not able to use the Dwarf Toss to position it, as ETC using Stage Dive just to get out of danger, but that's going to be the full keep now in favor of I Must Feed. And they're going to go ahead and pull back. They have level 16s now, so just like last game, that's going to be a big value for them. And they've got that advantage for quite some time. 2 levels, now a level and a half, as a big burst of XP picked up for Nebula. Early game looked very much in favor of Nebula, but I Must Feed has been very strong in their late game response, and it's looking dangerous at this point. Nebula is going to have to find themselves some quick kills before they have the Uther death, and of course that spread damage from Lunara and Sylvanas, very dangerous for Uther. Shive's going to get absolutely obliterated, just too far forward. The rest of the team, only 3 members there. Taunt out onto the Sylvanas, but without the cursed bullet follow-up, no way for Li Ming to get that kill. We're going to get the death onto Varian. Kurama on the Uther is going to fall as well. 3 kills, starting with the Greymane, and that should give now I Must Feed the go-ahead to get this next keep down, or at least a lot of damage onto it. And the wall's going to certainly fall. We'll see how much they can get with Sylvanas and the somewhat limited minion wave. And they say that's enough for them. They're going to get the siege camp, or the shaman camp rather, instead. Let's take a look at the damage numbers as soon as I remember where they are. And on the heroes, it's Sylvanas. And I did mention Sylvanas can do a lot of damage in a very quick window, and that's exactly what's happening. Lunara providing a pretty significant amount of damage there as well, to make it difficult. Uther can't keep up with that AoE healing. I mentioned earlier he doesn't have as much healing as other heroes. He gets that armor benefit instead, and he's just not able to keep up with this spread damage. Anduin all the way back here, gonna get the taunt out. Cursed Bullet, Fluffy Waffle in danger, has the bunker. ETC does the stage dive into the back line, but not able to get anything secured there because the bunker is up in the front. Divine Shield saving the cow for just a moment. We'll see if he's able to make it out. Shives going in, looking for the kill onto Anduin. They get the taunt. Can they finish it? They do. 1 for 1. Both healers down. ETC's going to fall, though, down below. And Murda, not long for this world, as well as all of that dot damage coming in. And up in the top lane, this could be the game-winning push right here. We've got 3 catapults. We have a siege camp. Greymane's going to head back because he's gotta deal with those catapults, or they will lose the game. It's just done. Stixa not really able to do a whole lot, but trying to get the damage out onto the Immortal, and has the mirror ball level 16, so a lot of potential damage. Varian has the spell banner, the banner of Dalaran, for the additional damage coming out of those abilities. Again, top lane is going to continue to be a problem, and when, not really if, but when I Must Feed gets this final Immortal with a nearly full shield, it's going to go in the bottom lane, and top lane pressure now. We've got that Shaman camp. Has to be dealt with. ETC is going to be all over that. Well, no, he's not. He's going to come in. They're going to look for the Murden. Murden's going to get pulled out. The stun coming from ETC, but Lunara jumping in on the Uther. Here comes that Light Bomb, this time with the Dwarf Toss onto Varian. Leap of Faith used, so they have no more leaps. Divine Shield's going to go out, keeping Uther alive, but Sylvanas doing work in the back, getting the Greymane killed. The Varian taunt not quite enough to lock down Muradin, as Murda will fall. They're looking for the next kill, and one more. 4 kills there for I Must Feed, as they will now head through the top lane. They don't care about the Immortal. They've got the lane pushed up. They got catapults. They've got a Shaman camp. They're going to start working on this final structure of the game, the core, and if anybody could mount a defense here, Li Ming could pop off, but it's really just not enough. It's not enough to make that work, and it's going to be I Must Feed taking the go-ahead for game number 2. Hey Rev, welcome. Good to see you, buddy. And I have to say, you know, what we've seen in both. All right, there we go. Sorry. So I haven't used the XGDI overlays for quite some time, and so some of them had the microphone turned off, so that was just my bad. Sorry. If that happens again, please do make sure that you speak up just like you did there, Zavarian. I appreciate that, because it literally is just because I have it turned off on that scene, and I just have to turn it back on. Anyways, I was talking about banning the Anduin, and you know, that was pretty much about all that mattered out of any of that. So we are not going to see Haunted Mines, at least not yet. Instead, we are going to, well, we're not supposed to be on this page, but you see where we're going. We're going to Towers of Doom, or you can kind of see it in the background there. Come back over to here. We are going to Towers of Doom, my favorite map. I love this map. It's different again from the other maps. It's not an objective that you go, you know, try to defeat. It's not an objective that you sit on a point and just wait. That's always the most fun part of Volskaya Foundry, being that one person who's just sitting around while the rest of your team is having fun. No, I didn't see who's all right, so it looks like this was the map pick of ReGen. They said, all right, first pick isn't doing it for us, let's go take a different map and see what we can do here. And let's get that prediction done. So prediction. I Must Feed coming in with the win. A lot of points going over to the pink side on this one. Feels bad if you lost a lot of points there. Maybe make them back up in this round. See details. So who lost the points there? Let's see if it tells me that. I see that. 13K go to Yoda and Selim. Is it Selim? Salim? Congrats on your points, Yoda. That's quite an influx of points. All right, we're good to go. It's game number 3. I gambled all my points. Now I have many. Exactly. There you go. Oh, skin 6.9K. Well, you know what? I mean, it's a good number to wager. All right, Towers of Doom. So this is a very different map. I'll kind of go over what that is because we have some new people here who don't watch a whole lot of Heroes of the Storm, may not know the details of what we're looking at, and I appreciate you being here. But if you're enjoying the cast, tomorrow night we've got another cast. We're going to be casting another match in another series, so I don't want to go too deep into it, but there are some big names, some familiar names for people who've been around the Heroes of the Storm community, specifically the amateur league community. You may want to stop by and say hello. That's all I'm saying. All right, so we're going to see Brightwing and Stitches taken out on the side of I Must Feed. We're going to get Malthael and Johanna taken out by ReGen Nebula. So, I mean, is this a Cho'Gall? Right? Malthael early ban. Do we see a Cho'Gall? I don't know. Could be. They are the second pick, so they could do that in that second half of the draft. I don't know. We'll see. Tassadar going to be picked up, and we did see Tassadar banned out game number 1. Our good friend McLoser going to be on the Tassadar. And, you know, Tassadar has the potential to have vision. It takes him all the way to 13 to get that Oracle, but it could happen. But McLoser has been the vision provider for the team, primarily for the last 2 games. We'll see how that turns out. Gonna get Tychus and Rhaegar, though. So Tychus, a % damage hero, can burn down those heavy tanks like the Muradin very quickly. And of course, Rhaegar we saw banned out in game 1 as well. Good evening, Bellis, I think is how we decided that was said. Good to see you, as always. I appreciate you coming by. It's always nice to see friends. Bellis, a IRL friend of mine. I imagine the kids are asleep, so I won't say hello to them, but... All right, here comes the Leoric man. Is this is Cho'Gall, right? Like, or at least they're trying to show off that it's Cho'Gall. Yeah. Like, like they probably weren't going for that, but they're probably, you know, going for something maybe like the Deathwing. Maybe that's what they're actually going for, is a Deathwing here. Tychus, big problem for Deathwing. Leoric, Malthael, both big problems for Deathwing. So maybe that's what we're gonna see. But as who was it that just said that? Yoda in chat there says Whitemane. Whitemane's a really high hit point healing potential hero, but she also kind of has to stand still a little bit for at least some of that. So we'll see how that turns out. I think we might see Deathwing. Tassadar can do a lot of damage into Deathwing. He can stall out people from getting the points. He's a global, so it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Diva and Blaze. So we, I guess it's probably not with that. It's gonna be Jaina instead. So I don't know. Maybe the intent was to look at the Cho'Gall with the Tychus Rhaegar. You know, that could have been a pretty significant amount of damage. I mean, even if they go Bloodlust, I mean, all those auto attacks from Cho can provide a lot. Little monster keeps losing his hedgehog. Forgets to check the other hand, but other than that, his restfulness. They're all asleep. That's funny. All right, let's get our game number 3 prediction up before I forget. That up for 2 minutes. Starting now. Who wins game number 3? Who do you think it's going to be? Is it going to be ReGen Nebula? ReGen Nebula. Are they going to claw their way back into this series and start the reverse sweep here on the Towers of Doom? Or is I Must Feed going to close this out? Are they going to go for the full sweep? What do you think? We're going to find out. All right. And I'm guessing that our blue team is the one that's hosting, and that's why we keep starting on the left side. We're going to go with the right side tonight for this one. We're going to introduce the right side. We're going to start for I Must Feed. North going to be on the Genji. Kingle there on the Dahaka. McLoser going to be on Tassadar. Fluffy Waffle on the Murden. And Sudden Bear is going to be on the White Mane.
5, 4, 3.
On the left for ReGen Nebula, it's going to be IT Cowboy on Diva. The Shives on Tychus. Jaina going to be played by Stixa, Murda on the Blaze, and Karama on the Rhaegar. I mean, you can answer the question. Pick it up, put it down. Doesn't mean it'll be the right answer, but you can answer it. You're American. We're allowed to just make things up, right? Isn't that how that works? I think. All right, Murda's going to get caught on the wrong side of Tassadar's Force Wall, but it's early game, so that's not a real significant issue. However, eventually that does become a problem, especially if you have the slow as well on the electric fence, causing any of the opponents anyways that go through the area to get slowed. Oh my goodness, that grenade onto Genji was absolutely perfect, and Nebula gets the first kill of the game once again. Start setting the tone. Are they going to be able to continue that tone and build themselves enough of a lead to make that happen on Towers of Doom here? So I mentioned earlier that this is a different map. You can't see, there's no core health right now because nothing's happened. In about a minute, we're going to see these altars right here in the middle of the blue team. They're going to be spawning. There'll be 2 up top, and this one right here will be showing up. And these towers basically, big stun there from Murda, keeping IT Cowboy nice and safe from Dahaka. But anyways, these altars basically, when they rise, you channel them, and you channel them to do points to your enemy's core. And we missed most of how that worked out, but that was a good invade there by I Must Feed. They were able to get their siege camp completed early, so they were running over to get a quick kill onto ReGen Nebula. Getting that Tychus that had the great grenade earlier. Genji jumping over the wall, looking to put some pressure onto Jaina, using the deflect to prevent the damage. Jet propulsion coming in, I think hit Murid in there. And I think the reason that it hit Muradin was because of Tassadar's Force Wall, because I don't think Murda was looking for the stun onto the Muradin. I think he was trying to lock down that Genji. But a great Force Wall there from the loser, level 5 to 5. All right, so these altars at the bottom right of your screen, it will eventually show. I don't know why it doesn't show yet. I thought it would show by now, but it will eventually show a score. It'll say ×4. And basically, when you channel these altars, you shoot your enemy's core for 1 point plus the number of forts you have. There you go, ×4. There's a channel right there, and you're going to see these shots coming out from the tower. Both sides sending out a group of them, 36 to 32. You get 40 points on your core. Now, when you take over enemy structures, they don't go away permanently like they do on the other maps. They stick around and you can convert them back. Well, Blaze is going to get caught by the force wall and that electric fence I mentioned earlier. So Kurama also getting slowed, but not able to secure the kill. Let's take a look here. What does Tychus have? So Tychus going into Master Assassin. Expect to see Odin popped there at the level 10. Odin giving him, or Commandeer Odin, I suppose I should say, gives him a gigantic mech to have significant range and damage. Murda checking the wrong bush in this case, as Murden right ahead of him. Black hole. You know what? I have to think about how to say this. Black hole is a great talent, and it is enjoyable to watch when you get a really fantastic play out of it. Let's go with that. They don't have a ton of ways to set it up. Maybe like Muradin with a slow. Obviously, Tassadar's force wall can kind of funnel people, so there's a little bit of that. So I somewhat suspect we won't see that, but maybe. There are a lot of narrow points on this, and a black hole could be really devastating if sent in the right location. All right, one altar. So earlier there were 3, each of them worth 4 points. There's one altar, so there will be some fighting here. Genji getting out of danger there.
The time is now, heroes.
Making sure that he doesn't get caught by that jet propulsion. Speaking of jet propulsion, right into the force wall. The force walls have been really quality here, making sure that primarily Blaze really can't get where he wants to be. Big stun there from Murda. But is falling, uses the Pyromania to get that 40 armor. And Genji could be a really high value hero at later stages of this game with that deflect. We'll see how that turns out, because the Diva could do a lot with that. But they're going to get the kill. Jaina finishing the job onto the Dahaka, and Murden jumping in feels bad. Getting stuck there. Oh my goodness. The force walls have been absolutely clutch. Keeping the White Mane alive there. She had no mana, and that's the thing about White Mane. Like, once you get into an emergency mode, you kind of burn through mana like crazy. So a little bit of damage out onto the bottom structure, and the bottom lane is the most important one in this game. And the reason why is this right here. You got a siege camp here. You got a siege camp here. The siege camps are the only other way. Well, they're the most common other way you're going to get points off your opponent's corp. They, there we go. These guys right here will charge into structures, doing damage to them. It's quite a significant amount of damage. And if there are no structures, they will eventually make their way over here to this zone of death. And if they cross that line, each one is a point off the enemy's core. Currently 36-28 in favor of ReGen Nebula. Now, the last 2 games, the second half of the game has really been in... Oh, we're seeing Dahaka coming in. He's looking for a target. Has that brush stock. There's the isolation. Is going to put the silence out onto Jaina, I think, but the ancestral absolutely huge there. It's not going to be enough, though, to keep Jaina alive, as Whitemane gets the credit for that kill. And Diva popping over here with the bunny hop, gets that unstoppable, is not going to make it out with her mech. And Genji's looking on the hunt, trying to see if he can get the kill. Big jet propulsion there, stalling out the Genji from getting away, but not enough damage with Jaina down to be able to secure a kill. Now, 2 altars are up, available, both in the bottom half of the map. Jaina's not here, so this is going to be difficult. Shive is going to get that stall thanks to that grenade onto Genji, and Diva going in now as well. Seeing that the Genji is low on health, we see both Tassadar. Tassadar is going to go down here, but Diva's going to die along with her mech. A little bit of XP bonus there in favor of I Must Feed. Tychus using Commandeer Odin has that extra range from those auto attacks, and look how much damage Genji has already taken, but continues to take as Whitemane trying to keep Genji alive. They get the slow. Jaina with that chill effect, making everybody get slowed there. Kingo missing the drag on Dahaka. He's going to have to use the burrow to just move away. And Genji's looking to zip over this wall. He's looking for Shives, trying to get the stall. He does get it. Gets the deflect to stay alive, and then Swift Strikes out of danger. And that should be another... Oh, wait, maybe one more stall? Nope. One more force wall is what we're going to see there. Tassadar saying, get out of here. I don't want whatever you're selling. It's 36-20. I got to ask, those of you who have done your predictions, how are you feeling right now? This is the comeback map. This is a map where you can have 1 point, and if you have 1 point on your core, you can come back and win this game. And it happens, maybe not all the time, but often. So how are you feeling about those channel points right now? Shive's getting absolutely trucked by Tassadar, and it is going to be that Archon as expected. Kingo coming in with Dahaka, looking for a target. And you know what? That bunker, Murda dropping the bunker just to make sure, for one, that Kingo can't use the drag and pull him back. But also, two, it's a block. So Dahaka had to go all the way around, meant that there was nothing he could do to continue the assault onto ReGen Nebula. North going to head back, and there's been a ton of pressure from this Genji onto the Jaina, and I mean, really just everybody on Nebula. We saw the same with the Sylvanas last game. So, you know, really, if you're Nebula, if you want to set that psychology, you got to take out the Genji. We're going to see Whitemane keeping that healing quite significant. There's that Genji, as mentioned, hitting with the Dragon Blade. He's going to get jet propulsion. They're North going to Swift Strike out of danger there at that last moment. One more hit. Genji's toast there, but it's not going to happen. And D.Va coming in doesn't have quite the speed that she needs to get there, but a big jet propulsion might be enough. Can they take it out? Tassadar, they get it, but drag coming in onto somebody. I can say it. Kurama, the Rhaegar there. Defense matrix from Cowboy, keeping the damage down. Dahaka's gonna fall, looking for the Murden. He's gonna jump out just at the last moment, but he's not gonna make it as D.Va goes in and secures the kill. They lose the mech for it, but that's a good trade. And with that, bottom bell tower going over into the favor of ReGen Nebula. They'll get 5 shots out of this now. 5 off the core. That'll bring them down to 15. 36-15 now in favor of ReGen Nebula. And this is the value that I was talking about. So expect to see some pretty heavy defense over this bottom bell tower, because now we've got 3 potential points here. We have 3 potential points. Well, that's in a minute. But that's 3 potential points right here. Genji's going to jump over the wall. It's 4 versus 4 right now, but Dahaka can come in. There he is coming in. We see Cowboy automatically expecting that that's where Dahaka's coming in. And Dahaka's going to get a good drag, though, so not going to fall there. Fluffy Waffle getting just deleted by Jaina, and now D.Va coming in, bunny hopping all over Tassadar's face. That's a triple kill in favor of ReGen Nebula, making it 4. Can they get the Genji here? No, they don't. 37 health. The grenade from Taika's just outside of range, and there's 1 more point, making it across. Jaina may be looking for that. That was so close. That frostbolt tickled Genji's butthole. It was right there.
What? I mean, I knew I could do that. I've opened my tunnel as well.
Holy smokes. And for the first time, ReGen Nebula to 16. They've got a 2.5 level lead now. Working on another bell tower here with a triple altar phase coming up. Neither team wants to lose heroes right now. If either team loses heroes right now, it can be a significant shift. But getting that bell tower is huge. That makes every single altar 6 points in favor of Nebula and reduces it down to 2 points for I Must Feed. So Blaze kind of not sure whether he's going down to the bottom lane or not. This is a gimme. Like, you do this, you have to go for that. 6 points off of I Must Feed, 2 points off of Nebula, as Blaze is going to get 6 more points. That leaves I Must Feed with a single point on their core, and they're going to get their middle lane fort back. Convert this back over. Now, We talked about these points right here. This is potentially the checkmate play in favor of ReGen Nebula. I Must Feed has to come down, and they have to prevent these from going across that line. But there's another problem, and we haven't talked about this. This boss is worth 4 points off of the core. And right now, I Must Feed is in the bottom lane, and Nebula knows it. They're going to try to burn this as quickly as possible before I Must Feed can get here. The question is, can Dahaka do anything about it? And right now, it's a maybe. That is a huge divine retribution from I Must Feed, and it's going to be a kill onto Tychus. Genji coming in is maybe going to get that secured kill onto Rhaegar as well. Kurama not able to get out of there as the 4 shots coming off of Nebula's core. What a play. I Must Feed making it just in the nick of time there and getting 2 levels out of that time frame. Taking a look at the talents, I want to check one thing. So we don't have the burrow knockback from Daka. I wasn't sure if he had taken that, then maybe he could have just stolen it by himself. But that divine retribution, the real significant problem for Nebula there is that they had so many people on the point, and divine retribution provides damage to everybody within it, which was the whole point, like the whole area there. And all the damage that Whitemane's doing is now converting into healing, so she's able to keep up anybody that she's trying to heal. And right now, Nebula trying to just keep as many bodies in the way of this back altar to see if they can't pick it up before I Must Feed can do anything, but they're not going to be able to get it just yet. But a big jet propulsion is going to stun, and Diva with the mech explosion getting the kill onto Murden is huge. Kingle trying to stay in that divine retribution to keep the healing up, but it's not going to matter. Whitemane falls, Dahaka falls, Blaze is going to fall as well, but Diva going to start the channel on the right as Rhaegar begins on the left, and it's not going to matter. We see North dancing. He says, welcome to the points. It's going to be ReGen Nebula taking Towers of Doom and bringing us back into this series, making it now at least 4 games that we have in this best of 5. All right, the kill count not quite as heavily in favor of Nebula as the last couple games have been in front for I Must Feed, but nonetheless, it is ReGen Nebula coming out with the victory. A very strong Towers of Doom performance. All of the stats in the world, though, ultimately won't matter if you're able to secure those altars and get the points off of the enemy team's core. I have played games, I have cast games where the stats lie. They tell you, if you look at the stats, they tell you this team won. But that's not how the core went down. So it is ReGen Nebula winning game number 3 and sending some channel points back over onto the side of the Nebula crowd here. So a few people getting some points back, maybe. Some people losing some of their points. 13.1k goes to Lots of Token with the 4,200 channel points. I see you. I see you. Well done, Skip. Let's see. Let me finish writing out what we had. These teams just do not want to go to Haunted Mines. I do want to know, those of you that played in the XGDI, were there any Haunted Mine games this season? And were they fun, or were they just memes? That was a good investment, yes. And you know what, Lister, you're right. You're absolutely correct. I mean, they've lost 100% of the games that they didn't take Black Hole. Rhaegar, Tychus, Li-Ming. Nope, not Li-Ming. Jaina. Eva and All right, so it looks like we're gonna get a quick bio break for one of the teams here. So we're just gonna do some good old Blizzard videos to remind you of what used to be Sag. But we'll be back here in just a moment. Enjoy this.
Impressive, Archer. But you'll need to do better than that.
You have no idea what I am capable of.
Good. Because you must be ready for anything.
Yield!
You show promise, Hanzo. Well done. But greater challenges still await us.
I believe we are ready.
It's time to find out.
Welcome back. We're in our draft already. We didn't get too far though. I didn't want to cut that off in the middle. It's, you know, Blizzard, as Lots Token mentioned, Blizzard really does do some amazing cutscenes, and of course, upcoming is the Warcraft expansion Dragonflight. So, gotta let that ride a little bit, you know. But let's take a look at our draft. We see some familiar faces. Brightwing, Stukov banned out. We see Johanna banned out, but this time gonna get the Zeratul ban. And considering we have that Diablo coming out now, I think that was probably a good call. Tychus switching sides, gonna go over this time to I Must Feed, and Rhaegar as well. So having Rhaegar Tychus, we'll see how much value that provides. Gonna get the ban onto Tassadar. So Tassadar walls were, you know, I could not talk about them enough last game, but we're gonna get rid of the Vikings here on the side of I Must Feed. Cursed Hollow is a very, very large map, and it has, once again, a very different objective mechanic. So in this one, you get multiple tributes, and if you get 3 tributes, you curse your opponent, and all of their structures get shut down. All right, this I was waiting for something like this to happen. We're going to see Murda on Muradin, and that is going to be a pain in the neck for me to cover. So expect there to be a lot of tongue twisters on this. We're going to get Sylvanas and Lucio, so a lot of quick movements out of the healers. Dahaka's got a global and the shutdown potential from Sylvanas. There's the Deathwing. So I mentioned it earlier that Nebula was maybe considering that, but it's going to be going over to I Must Feed, and Deathwing is a global as well, so he's going to be able to provide some value. Deathwing, another Warcraft dragon, might see some history with the Deathwing, just saying, in this upcoming expansion. Sticks to the last pick. What do you take into that Deathwing? Probably something that's got some percent damage. You're going to be able to take that down. Lunara, I think, gets a percent damage, but basically just trying to get the poke damage, the consistent poke damage, because Rhaegar cannot heal Deathwing. So there you go. There are our teams for game number 4. Who do you think's going to win this one? Is ReGen on the upswing? Are they going to bring us to a game number 5 on their climb towards a reverse sweep? Or does I Must Feed close it out right here, right now, in game number 4? Gotta go grab some food. Let me tell you, I'm feeling that. I did not have dinner earlier, and I'm wishing that I had. So I hope you have a good dinner. Let us know what you have, because, you know, why not? All right. Did it switch? It did. Okay. All right. Well, we started on the red last game. We'll go with that again. North going to be on the Tychus for I Must Feed. We've got Kingle playing the Deathwing. And did I set that correctly? I did. Okay, good. And they're moving around. McLoser's going to be on the Chromie. We got Sudden Bears on the Rhaegar. Diablo going to be played by Fluffy Waffle. Over on the left, we've got ReGen Nebula. Going to be IT Cowboy on the Dahaka, switching sides. Murda going to be playing Muradin. The Shives on the Sylvanas. Karama on the Lucio. And Stixa on Lunara. Chinese Takeout sounds absolutely wonderful, and I wish that the one place in town that had that was open late enough for me to go get some after this, but sad. Level 1 talents there. It's going to be the Deep Breath talent there for Chromie, so hitting those long bombs. And you know, at the beginning of this very large map, it's unlikely we'll see too much activity, so I'm just going to talk about Fluffy Waffle. Can we just like do you like your waffles fluffy, or do you kind of like them a little bit more crisp? Because there's a big difference, right? Not necessarily in flavor, but just in the overall texture. And I gotta say, I'm used to eating them a little bit crispier, but the fluffy ones, like, they're really good. And you get some syrup in there, and, like, you know what I mean? A crunchy, do they have to? Crispy on the outside, fluffy. You know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. That's a good. Yeah, I can get on board with that. I don't make waffles, so I really don't. I really don't have a dog in that fight to say one way or the other. And what I was thinking about was when I was last at BlizzCon, and the IT Cowboy that's about to die here, as Diablo's waiting for the charge here. Gonna get that charge into the wall with the stun. Rhaegar diving in, but it's gonna be the drag coming in, trying to get Diablo into the wall, but mostly just getting the stun to keep himself alive. So 4 here for ReGen, as the camp picked up in mid lane already. North working on it up in the mid lane for a red team I Must Feed. But as I was saying, BlizzCon, some really great chicken and waffles there in California. And I never thought that would be a thing that I would enjoy, having heard about it in Rush Hour. Murda gonna get flipped there and shoved into the wall, but no stun, because that's not how those walls work. But yeah, Rush Hour, like with the Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, like it was always, to me, that was like a meme, but it actually was amazingly good. So those of you in California, I gotta say, I do miss the wonderful food that you guys have, the food options that you have out there. Shouldn't say food because not everything's going to be great, but a lot of it was. IT Cowboy very far in here is going to get caught by the grenade. Murda is going to come in, dives in, looking for the stun, is going to get charge stunned by Diablo. Shadow charge into the wall, giving a brief stun, but no flip as a follow-up. On the minimap there, you can see our good friend Deathwing hanging out up here, trying to clear up the camp, letting Chromie do as much stalling as possible. Diablo is going to flip the Dahaka. Dahaka is able to use that burrow to just kind of zip out. Deathwing up in the air now, is able to land in about 6 seconds. So if Nebula is not able to pick this up, which it looks like they're not, it now becomes an even fight. Shive's coming in with the damage in the back. Chromie's time trap is going to get taken out. Fluffy Waffle looking for maybe Lunar, but instead gets the Dahaka. Fluffy Waffle falling low. Can they secure this? Can they get that crispy outside and the fluffy inside? Look at that Fluffy Waffle so low. He's saying, help me, help me. And it's not going to be enough. Lunara getting the credit for that kill. That's the first kill 4 minutes into the game. Potentially another one. North trying to get away, can't quite do it. McLoser now is going to throw out the bombs, trying to slow and damage the enemy team. Is going to do a lot. And there's the secured kill. Sylvanas going to get that one onto Chromie, and Deathwing and Rhaegar having to pull back. There's nothing more they can do, as Lunara will get the first tribute of this game. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, we saw that Deathwing had done as much as he could, but eventually had to come down into the fight. But the Siege Giant got a little bit of damage into that wall, took out the one tower. And with that quite significant value win there in that team fight, ReGen Nebula able to pick up half of the bottom fort. This is phenomenal for them. This is a great setup. And as we see 5 minutes coming up here, the bosses now available on either side of the map. And that's the close one for Nebula. So having that damage on that bottom fort is huge, because they can potentially threaten with a boss. If they're able to pick up this tribute, which it's very well positioned for them. This is a very good defensive position for the blue side. If they're able to pick up this tribute around the time they're level 10, they could just threaten pushing down that bottom lane with a boss. So we'll see how that turns out. Tribute coming up. We've got Murda holding on to that bush, making sure that it's nice and clear. Welcome, Mongoose and friends. Hello, thank you for joining us. Murda gonna jump over the wall. Thank you for the raid, Mongoose. I'll give you a shout out here in a moment when things are a little bit slower. Doc is going to come in. There's a time trap right there, so they knew it. He is going to chase down Tychus. He's not quite able to get him. Missed the drag earlier there. Deathwing's going to land onto the backline with Lunar, but Fluffy Waffle taking boatloads of damage, and it is going to be a trade. 1-for-1. Diablo's going to fall. Lucio's going to fall, but they're looking for more. Rhaegar's going to get pulled in, but the Shives not quite able to get the kill, but Murda jumping in says, I got it. Don't worry. Sylvanas, though, going to fall. And can they follow up with the kill onto Tychus? Eventually, possibly. Chromie says, that's fine. I'm going to take this tribute. And that is probably the best thing you could hope for at the moment for, you know, losing the fight, but you win the tribute. And that's really important because, like I said earlier, if ReGen had 2 of those going into having level 10 and the next tribute, they just pick up this boss, they knock over this fort, and potentially get some keep damage depending on how far they make it. But level 10's here for Nebula. That quick flash of Deathwing was Deathwing changing forms. He's got a melee form and a ranged attack form, so he changed from one to the other there. Changes his abilities. Good to see you, Mongoose. Oh, you know what? This is a good time to shout out my good friend Mongoose. Longtime member of the ReGen community, caster, and just all-around good guy. Next tribute. This is on the defensive side for I Must Feed. So again, we might actually see ReGen give this. I Must Feed could potentially go for this. We could see both teams just saying, screw it, we'll just get our own bosses. Instead, it looks like Looks like we're gonna get some fighting action right here. Deathwing gonna need to regen that anger, that hatred, that fury, whatever it's called. I think it's fury. Murda just missing on the Stormbolt, having to get away as the rest of I Must Feed coming in there. Dahaka up above has the siege camp providing some pressure, so the longer that ReGen is able to stall this out, the better it is for them. Dahaka coming in the back, had that isolation out there. Here comes the Apocalypse. Sudden Bear's trying to run away on the Rhaegar. Stun coming out onto Rhaegar with the silence as well, so no healing there. Fluffy Waffle getting low again. The tank's just taking a beating in this. Cowboy trying to get there but cannot. Lunara jumping over the back but is not able to finish the job onto the Fluffy Waffle. Now Murda with the Avatar is trying to get away. 130, and Chromie with the Sandblast gonna get that kill. Shive's gonna get another shot as the deep breath coming in from Chromie is gonna secure a second kill, and that's gonna give the red team now to go ahead to take out the siege camp up in the top lane, but also to get that boss. And with 2 tributes now, depending on when the next tribute spawns, that could be a very challenging thing for Nebula to deal with. I Must Feed doesn't have the ability to shut down towers like Sylvanas does, but with the boss, it'll do a lot of damage, and that is perfect timing for the red team. They couldn't have asked for that to have gone better, because now they can run down here, potentially stall out the bottom boss. Murda slowing things down, making sure that they can't do that. So the bottom boss is going to get picked up. Deathwing up in the air. So now we fight over the tribute. Blue team can't give this up to the red team. If red team gets this, that boss becomes significantly more powerful as all of the structures get shut down. That will take out the back keep there. Styx are going to get hit by something. I guess a Sandblast. Yeah, Sandblast. It looked like a Stormbolt, but it was way too far away for a Stormbolt, and the Stormbolt's on the other team. Fluffy Waffle gonna get caught by the drag. Styx are not there to provide any value though, so ultimately Diablo's gonna make it. Silence coming in, and the charge coming in onto Murden is going to get the big stun. Deathwing coming in with the Cataclysm gets the fear onto just the Dahaka, but it certainly is enough, as the stun coming out onto Lucio might be enough to get them, but he's gonna pop that, amp it up, and survive. But now Deathwing's gonna channel in the back here. McLoser going to probably go back and deal with this. I mean, it's going to be dead soon anyways. But this is the real problem. Even though the boss has low health, it's going to do a lot of damage to these towers. And red team's not close enough to capitalize on it, so it's not really going to matter, as Nebula will be able to take that out. But all of these minions have a straight line into the structures. The blue minions just have a single point of health. They die instantly. Hey, Hamlin. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome. All right. Bottom lane now evened out. Red team able to shut down the tower thanks to the curse, and even the fort structure race in the bottom lane. But up in top, it is still in favor of I Must Feed thanks to taking that out with the boss. Looks like maybe that's all that they get for the moment, at least. And, you know, it might seem like this is a questionable play from ReGen to let all these minions get close to their structure, and they are going to get some damage up here in the top. But one of the things that does give them is it means that all that XP comes right into their backyard. This is the questionable part. If they lose this fort because of splitting off, getting that camp, and, you know, and trying to catch that XP, then it's definitely not worth it. But they did get about a half a level out of the XP that they did pick up. I think they didn't get all this down here. So they're, at least for them, they're now on pace to get to 16 first, and those really high value talents that we've talked about a few times. So letting these minions come into them if they're on the defensive means that it's harder for the red team to get that same experience, because it's now farther forward into the enemy defenses. Taika's throwing that grenade, just trying to work on getting that structure down. And they have a lot of range between Chromie and Deathwing, can do some damage there. Eventually that's going to fall, and there it goes. So far this game has been pretty even in kill count. But it's been kind of like our first couple of games where the early game was a little bit balanced and it starts to lean toward I must feed in the later half. And right now, that's not what you want to have happen if you're ReGen Nebula. If you're I must feed, you keep the gas on, you keep the pressure going. Each of the top lane and bottom lanes have catapults coming occasionally, so that's value for them. Stun is somehow going to land there onto Diablo. It's 4 versus 4. Well, there's 4 versus 5. Fluffy Waffle charging in. The Apocalypse going to come in, not going to land on anybody, and it's going to be Chromie going into a timeout, staying alive just long enough. Deathwing's probably going into the air soon. McLoser, though, is going to fall beforehand. Here comes Deathwing with that Skyfall Meteors, getting 3 shots out there, but it's just not enough, and Diablo now will fall. But he'll be back in a moment. He has some souls, so he has a quick death timer, 5 seconds, and he's already back, but he doesn't have as much health. Diablo gets a flip onto the Dahaka there, and Deathwing using his Bellowing Roar Fear, the AoE Fear, to kind of just zone out ReGen Nebula. And that's going to give them essentially a free tribute. There's not really anything I expect to see from I Must Feed with the Chromie being dead. So this is the second tribute. It's not game ending though. It's unless you have 3, doesn't mean a whole lot. But the bosses are coming back up here. So the top boss is available. Bottom boss coming up soon. Not really expecting to see a fight over it, but you know what? Maybe they do. They see these heroes down here. Deathwing just used his Bellowing Roar, so Ikas is heading over there. He's going to hit the grenade for the vision. Did hit the boss, so he's saying they're not here. Now, if I Must Feed is kind of thinking, well, if they're not on our boss, then they must be down below. But Tychus is like, nah, they might be waiting for me. Throws that grenade, hits 4 targets. An empowered grenade with extra % damage and all kinds of stuff there. I guess he doesn't have the % damage, but he did have the melting point, so doing extra damage there. Dahaka, though, this is mega questionable. He is going to be able to make it out of there, but that gives ReGen Nebula the time to get the boss down already to half. Chromie's going to stay behind, maybe pick this up. And nope, that's actually Deathwing who's going to be picking that up. That is potentially a really big value for ReGen Nebula because Deathwing can't make it back up here. So there's Lucio giving a high 5 for the Unstoppable. Big Wailing Arrow as Rhaegar's going to get brought down very low, but Ancestral's going to make it a-okay. Diablo's going to charge in onto the Sylvanas here. Uses the Will of the Forsaken to get away as Lucio zooming away, trying to get that extra healing there. And here comes Deathwing now, isolating IT Cowboy. So that was a potential big value play for Nebula, but really the main thing they got out of it is time. And the bottom boss now heading into the keep. It's going to do some damage. This can't just be left entirely alone because it will take out that bottom keep, but top boss now is a threat. And I don't know that this is a great place for them to engage in. Deathwing does have that AoE Fear, so you know, you kind of just have to say, kill the Deathwing. There's a stun, and this is going to go over to the red team, it looks like. Murden's going to dive in. He's going to get knocked away or shoved or whatever. They do get the kill onto the Deathwing, but it's just a little bit too late. So red team boss picked up there, and that's not the lane you want that to be in. However, Dahaka now getting charged, stunned against the wall. North going to get caught, is taken out. Tychus just isolated and destroyed there, and this could be really great for ReGen as now they do have this tribute spawning in the bottom lane. If they can pick that up, that gives them a curse and a lot of potential value. This boss is still a threat though, so they're going to come back and clean this up for sure. Where did okay, Dahaka's up here, so they might actually be foregoing the tribute just to clear the boss. That's going to give I Must Feed they know that everybody's over here. I don't know if that was the right call. I mean, they're gonna lose that keep at some point for sure at this point now, and they now put a potential curse in the hands of I Must Feed on the next tribute. They had this lane all the way pressured up, which would have brought more catapults, and they do have 2 lanes with forts that they would have had to go through, but level 20s are here for them. The next fight, if you're I Must Feed, you just kind of wait, right? We saw this earlier when Nebula did for a bit on Volskaya, and then they kind of, you know, went into it. But if you're I Must Feed, you don't have to go into this. You can wait, get that level 20, and then take a fight. And that's the tribute that changes everything. 25 seconds until that tribute spawns. Ultimately, neither team really wants to let the other get it. But if either team gets it, it's better that for I Must Feed, like, them losing the tribute is less of a problem than ReGen losing the tribute at this point, because they have forward defenses. Lunar is going to get stuck against the wall. Ancestral coming out, big stun onto 2 targets there. Fluffy Waffle going to get a double Ancestral, and that's a big cooldown. 100 seconds on that Ancestral. No cooldowns used anywhere else, and IT Cowboy's going to try to channel, but Deathwing, it turns out, can stall for about a year. So that's going to be taking place for a bit. Level 20's here for both teams. Diablo's going to get that charge in. Odin's going to come out, but it's too late. The tribute picked up for ReGen Nebula. So the question is, where can they get value? They're trying to keep I Must Feed on the back foot here and pushing them into their own defensives. They want to come up here and see what they can get out of the siege camp. Commandeer Odin up for a bit yet, so that's going to help them clear the siege camp. And this is a good call here, bringing it to the top lane. The bottom lane has the siege, so that'll get cleared out. Shives has the conflagration there. Damage coming out, has to be split off. Deathwing's coming in with the Cataclysm, is going to be in the back line, tries to get the fear, does get a fear onto 2, including Murden and Lucio, but Sylvanas going to get taken out with the long-range grenade there, and that's a big problem for ReGen. The stun coming out, allowing for a little bit of disengage as Lucio trying to heal up the rest of the team. Drag coming in onto Tychus. I don't know that you want to bring Tychus closer with the rest of the team. So how valuable can this be? It's not going to be great. They lose the Dahaka there, and the rest of Nebula going to be able to pull back, ultimately getting the top and mid lane opened up a bit. And that's it. They're not going to be able to get any keeps there. And they've got about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes before there's the potential of another tribute. So everybody will be back up for the next potential fight between I Must Feed and ReGen Nebula here. But this is the call right now. 30 seconds until Dahaka, 15 seconds until Sylvanas. You have zone control with your Chromie. In every way, this is a good play by the red team, and blue team should honestly just stay out and not even give a fuck. They should be not here. They should be putting pressure somewhere else on the map, like that top keep. You have 5 versus 3, a lot of ways that any hero can get stunned and locked down and absolutely shredded by Tychus. So gonna send out a siege camp to put pressure in that top lane that's already pretty far. The boss is not necessarily game ending at this point, but if you lose any heroes, it's not gonna feel good, and it certainly could turn into game ending. This is a 21-minute boss. It is very healthy, very powerful. Commandeer Odin coming out, so that is a long cooldown that Tychus will be able to put out just tons and tons of damage. There's the big red button gonna hit with that nuke landing onto Murda, as the boss gonna do what it does best and bring that keep down. Boss is sitting at half health still, so ReGen has to be a little bit careful, and they've got to clear this now. Little bit of damage here. I don't know that these catapults are gonna get any permanent damage. They might get a little bit. Nope, not quite. Couldn't quite take down the shield. Dahaka is going to keep that lane pressured up, and Nebula now. This is a fight they have to take. So they're going to send out any siege camp, any bruiser camp that they can to keep pressure elsewhere on the map where they have value. Top lane's equal, mid lane is equal, bottom lane now with this siege camp in favor of I Must Feed. This right here could be the last fight of this game, so we'll have to keep an eye out. Big stun cleanse. Murda jumping in, has the boss aggroed now. That's not fantastic, but Tychus gonna get smashed. Can they get the kill? They do onto Tychus. That accidental pull of the boss might just put it into ReGen's favor, but a big Apocalypse with the double stun. Lucio's gonna get taken out. Murda now the call. You see them calling the ping, and that's it. They're trying to get out of danger here, and that's not great. That is not a great place for ReGen, as I Must Feed has this tribute in hand. They, in theory, could even take this boss, and that's really probably the better play so that they don't get out without their Tychus. They're kind of exposed if they go out, you know, by themselves. They could potentially find themselves a quick death without that ancestral healing from the Rhaegar. Bottom lane, Sylvanas using that mind control to send that catapult forward. And Murda with the siege camp, or the bruiser camp mentioned earlier. They're going to try to get a little bit of damage in here. They can't be here too long. I Must Feed is coming down. But they do get about half of that keep down, so that's pretty good for the ReGen side. But it's tough. I Must Feed has all of their members available. They've got a boss coming in the top lane now, and we saw how much value that boss did on this keep down here. This top keep is toast. It's going to be toast before it even gets there. And this is where I Must Feed wants to pressure. They've got a boss coming in. They need to keep that pressure going, because this is where they can win that game. If anybody gets caught by a boss root, for example, that player dies. And the boss is sitting at 2/3, 3/4 health. Commandeer Odin coming in. Diablo trying to get that stun onto the Lucio, is not going to be able to get it. They almost get the stun onto Muradin, but he's able to make it out. Diablo, though, going to get taken out. Soul's bringing him back soon. North now taking loads of damage, is going to fall here in a moment. But the core's falling 32%. The boss, very healthy still. Is it going to be enough? Can I Must Feed finish this off with the boss? And they do. And that's going to be it, everybody. You've got your Zul'jin Distillery Invitational champions, I Must Feed. Oh, I don't remember who picked that. I think that was the red team. Alrighty, so we've updated that. Let's update this. Ooh, points very much in favor of ReGen. And given the points, I'm guessing I know who those came from. All right, we'll see if we can get an interview. Is there a... I don't actually know who their captain is. Maybe it's like Fluffy Waffle. Hey, if anybody from I Must Feed is in the chat, which I'm fairly confident somebody is, send... What's going on? There we go. Hold on one second. Don't say anything else, because I just realized that my Discord is in the wrong place. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had it set to my speakers and realized that nobody would be able to hear you, or they would hear you through the speakers, and that would be worse. So let me get the... There we go for that. Sorry, one more thing. And get rid of this. Where'd that go? All right. So welcome. We have the two of the members here of I Must Feed, the victors. We have North. Actually, we've got more. We've got Kingleberry. We've got North, and we have Sudden Bears. Congratulations. That was quite a set.
Yeah, that was really nerve-wracking at the end.
Can someone invite Andrew? He's not able to get here yet. Sorry,
No, we don't need him. It's fine.
Screw that guy. What do we need him? So listen, you guys played an absolutely fantastic set. There was a ton of highlight moments. I definitely made some comments. Listen, you guys all had some highlight moments in there for sure, so make sure you get those clips out there, because you played a really good set, and I need to shut off the Lucio music. There we go. I just realized it was too much, and so is the game.
Hey.
You guys played a great set. So you know, it's been a little while since I've cast the XGDI. I didn't get the opportunity to do any for this season. So you know, we've gotten to the finals. How does it feel to get through this whole season? I know you've been in XGDI before and for many seasons at this point. You know, how does this all culminate to a victory for you and your team?
Well, I think we've been looking for an XGDI win for like 5 seasons, so this is feels real great. Feels right good to have it accomplished. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Has it been 5? God damn. I didn't think it had been 5 seasons.
It's been like 47 years or something. Yeah.
We've been struggling since 5.
Since 1965.
Yeah, feels good. Glad to finally gotten on top of some of the teams that have been just kicking our ass for a while. Really good teams in this tournament.
Yeah, they had a
like honestly, all the teams are great. It was super good to be here, and I'm really happy we could have participated.
So with the path to victory here, you guys were the 4th seed in the season. You beat Probius, you beat XGD, and then ReGen. So all of the teams that ultimately, well, I guess Probius was behind you, so you wouldn't have played number 3. But like, how did that play out for you through the playoffs and get you to this point? Was there a lot of preparation? Do you guys do preparation? Like, how do you make this all work out for you?
Well, half of the team are people who just came back to this game, like, at XGDI start. So their prep was really trying to get them to remember how the buttons worked for this game.
Maybe a little bit.
But we had some scouting.
Game, right?
Sorry?
I said hashtag dead game, right?
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, that's hashtag true. Yeah, just trying to get everyone on the same team, especially with comms. What else from you guys?
Well, I think early on, me and Fluffy here were kind of struggling getting into the groove of playing again, because we were the two that hadn't been away for a while,
Yeah.
and so we kind of dropped a couple early matches, but like over the course of the entire season, our comms grew, our muscle memory grew, and it just took off from there.
Yeah, it really was a culmination over a good couple weeks of practicing and figuring out what people want to play and what they just naturally can and can't play. I think it was a little bit rocky at the start, but you can just certainly see the progress of every single person here and their skills and abilities and the ability to play as a team as the season goes on.
Sure, that's, you know, it makes sense, especially with returning players. It takes a little bit of time to kind of get back in the groove and as a team kind of get coordinated too. So who is it that does your shot calling?
North and Kingle typically.
Yeah, so most of the shot calling would be me on most part in terms of like fights and general macro stuff. Kingle being the solo laner, we need to hear his input as to what's going on the other side of the map a lot, so he'll generally throw in every once in a while who's rotating down, what's happening, where we need to go next based on what their solo laner's doing. But yeah, it's been an interesting development getting, you know, a tank player that hasn't played in 2 years and a DPS player to put their heads together and stay at least on the same screen.
What's that supposed to mean?
We would have in the
What do you
beginning of the
mean
season we would have fights that are just spread across half the map because everyone just scatters. But it's been a good development.
Gotten better.
Good deal. Well, obviously it played out well for you guys with some really exciting games. Obviously the 4th game, very back and forth between the two teams and a little bit, you know, heavily in favor of you guys on the first 2 games. The 3rd game went a little bit differently. And I have to say, you know, your guys' names provided a lot of value for me as well, playing off of, you know, Fluffy Waffle and McLoser. I think I spent 3 minutes talking about you know, Fluffy Waffle there at the beginning of this game.
Yeah, I think the chat was kind of getting in on that too.
Chat definitely. Like, you gotta ask, like, how do you like your waffles? Like, how do you, like, what do you do with them? Do you want them crispy? Do you want them fluffy? Like, how does that work out? You know, you just gotta
I'm gonna burn some bridges. Fluffy waffles, disgusting.
Ooh.
Who would want those?
All right,
That's
I'm
an
off
L
the team.
take.
We're done.
That's an L take.
I think you gotta get like you gotta get like the crispy exterior, like a little bit of crunch, and then just perfectly soft inside.
And that's pretty much
Personally.
what the general consensus of chat was too.
Oh yeah.
Was that crispy exterior with a fluffy interior. And is that a good description of the fluffy waffle?
Like me and
Exterior?
Griffin?
Yeah. From personal
Good
experience,
description of you,
yes.
Fanning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Sound-
actually
I'm-
he's a softie, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a little crusty. Yeah, I'd say.
Good deal. Well, listen, let's before we do shoutouts, let's just cover one thing. What and this can be each of you guys, it can be anybody that wants to participate. What was your favorite moment of the series tonight? Any clutch plays or anything that you were just like, that I gotta point that out because it was amazing?
There were a lot of good turnaround calls. Sorry.
It's North going over the the gate.
Turn out the towers.
Yeah. That's it.
Dude, we had to turn it off somehow. You think I'm gonna waste the second Sylvanas E? No.
Yeah.
That's-
Or
Two times
unstop,
the damage.
unnecessary.
Two
Make
times the
sure you
damage.
watch back. That's a clippable moment for sure. You're gonna enjoy that.
I think I don't know. I think the first game had a lot of really good plays. I think there was, what was it? The ETC was trying to position for a mosh play on our backline, and I think I got a 4-man wailing arrow. So that was pretty big pog.
I thought it was Mosh too, but he took stage dive.
Yeah, I was. Oh, sorry, not mosh. Yeah, stage dive. But he was, anyways, in our backline.
Right,
but
right.
It worked out. I don't know. Yeah, I think the turn in the last game on some of those fights could probably be clippable. But honestly, it was a really good series from both teams, and I think that to say that any one moment was a highlight is almost a disservice.
Well,
Yeah,
and to be clear,
Kinda hard.
yeah, I guess all I'm saying is any particular moments that you really enjoyed. Obviously, half of the games, half of each of the games were basically highlight reel moments. But sometimes you're just like that moment you just mentioned, the Sylvanas moment. Like, there's just a moment where you're like, that's different, and it worked well, and and it was fun, and because those kind of moments, if I'm playing Sylvanas in that moment, I go in and I'm like starting to sweat for that brief moment, and then I'm out and I'm like, that was really cool, and I didn't lose us the game because of it. So
I think I personally like the moments where it seems like everyone is automatically on the same page in terms of plan in the team fight. They can just kind of see this, like, it's like flowing water as you kind of move across the map. Like, yeah, all the ults are together and people are getting hit by multiple, like, Chromie stuff is coming in. The garage gets like a bunch of people in its home. The Malthael, like, maybe I'll throw the Malthael in and get him a little farther, catch somebody else.
Oh yeah, the garage. Speaking of the garage, highlight play for first game. The Nubarak charged in, and then the Uther was running up to D shield because they're about to blow him up, and the garage managed to throw away the Nubarak away from the Uther and then stun the Uther so he couldn't D shield.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
I think my best play was Arrow picking up casting last minute.
Fair enough. You know what? That's a good highlight level play, I gotta say. And you know what?
Real MVP.
The funny thing is last night I was looking for a game to cast tonight, and I was like, nothing really that's piquing my interest right at the moment, because my normal plans for tonight. I didn't know about it until today, and my normal plans got biffed because of somebody getting sick. So so it just worked out. I got to pick you guys up, and I mean, there's nothing I would have rather been doing than casting a finals match that was as exciting as this has been.
Yeah, I gotta say, 3-1 is not. I don't think that does it justice to how close and intense those games were. So great. I had a great series. ReGen Nebula. That was really amazing. You guys should be like really happy for just how like terrifying you guys are when you guys were playing us. We were on our toes the entire time. So
yeah, that Towers game, I think I was just permanently stressed. It was just 20 minutes of continual stress.
I second that notion.
So excellent games. Excellent games.
Good deal. Well, let's go ahead and lead into shoutouts. Whoever wants to go first, just go through yourselves.
Shout out to my team. Shout out to ReGen Nebula, and for a great game, really great game, and Zul'jin Distillery for hosting this, and you for casting. Anything else for you guys?
Shout out to Zavarian Bob.
Yeah.
I'd like to thank my mom.
Yeah, shout out
No.
to Bob, the only the
Oh,
only
Bob,
person that's
yeah.
always rooting for us in chat. Been a good time.
Oh, and I think you got to mention the rest of the Team Rainbow Strike Go boys.
Oh, that's
Oh
true.
yeah, true. They
Oh,
put out
yeah,
a show.
for sure.
too. Yeah. Thank you, TRSG, as well.
Everyone that helped us get here, like all the people that took time to come out and scrim with us.
Thank you,
there's been
Kanye West.
numerous teams. That there's been a lot of people helping us get to this point.
Awesome. What?
Thank you, Arrow.
You're welcome.
Oh, for real.
What do you guys have coming up for the team going forward? Are you participating in anything else ongoing, or is this just kind of a gathering off-season kind of thing for the team?
Maybe NGS in the future. Otherwise, just griefing your Storm League games. So look forward to us in that.
Excellent. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me. Again, congratulations on your victory, 3-1 over ReGen Nebula, and ultimately the finals for the Season 8 of XGDI. Good luck with the rest of your games, except
Thanks,
for the
man.
ones against me.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks for the
Eric.
cast.
Quite welcome. All right, so that's going to be it for us for the casting tonight. That's all I had. So shout out to Murda and ReGen Nebula for their games tonight. Put on a really good show. The number 2 seed from the Zul'jin Distillery Invitational. The victors tonight, though, I Must Feed, pulling out some really fantastic plays and some great clips. So make sure you check out. If you didn't already get a chance to see those, if you're a player or what have you, make sure you go back and check out the replay. There's a lot of fun stuff there. So it is the time that we figure out where we're going to go and what we're going to do. So I was just looking at the people that I know on Twitch at the moment, and it's basically a whole bunch of music streams. So obviously you guys are all here for Heroes of the Storm, so I am happy to send us to a Heroes of the Storm streamer. If there's anybody that you guys would like to go to, feel free to mention so here. The replay will be posted, so you can actually go watch the replay now. It's on Twitch because I don't have any DMCA stuff, so it's able to be posted live. Otherwise, let's see, I don't know if I have a link to my YouTube, but I do not. Okay, so if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to, if you search for Arrow RG, you should be able to pull it up, but it'll be posted in YouTube as well, but you can catch that here and on Twitch. But anyways, yeah, if anybody's got any Heroes of the Storm people you would like to go see, we can certainly do that. Otherwise, I'm going to send us over to somebody that I know in the music community, in the Twitch music community that you all might enjoy. Let's see. Let's go ahead and look at Emmy. All right, so Emmy Law is she's a musician. She is, I believe she fairly recently moved to like Nashville or something like that. Make sure that's muted. There we go. And she writes her own songs, does a lot of covers, and in the music community, basically, you get to kind of just enjoy it like it's a concert. So we're gonna go see Emmy Law music, and if you enjoy the music, make sure you give her a follow and check out some of the other music streamers in the Twitch music category. There's a lot of really fantastic music out there. Have a great night. Thanks again, everybody, for being here, for enjoying the match between Nebula and I Must Feed, and we'll see you again here soon. And as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow night I'm casting another match at 10 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure you come back for all the fun and excitement that's there. Gonna have a special guest co-caster for the night as well, so see you later.